So up first, news from the 16th BRICS Summit at Kazan, Russia. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a two-day visit to Russia, where he began the day's engagements with meeting Russian President Vladimir Putin. Both leaders held discussions in several areas of mutual interests, including regional and other international issues. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that India has deep and historical ties with the city of Kazan. The Indian Prime Minister added that the opening of India's new embassy in Kazan will further strengthen bilateral ties.
मेरे लिए खुशी की बात है कि ब्रिक्स समिट के लिए कजान जैसे खूबसूरत शहर में आने का अवसर मिला है। इस शहर के साथ भारत के गहरे और ऐतिहासिक संबंध रहे हैं। कजान में भारत के नए कॉन्सुलेट के खुलने से ये संबंध और मजबूत होंगे।
Speaking on the Russia-Ukraine conflict, Prime Minister Modi said that they should be resolved in a peaceful manner.
एक्सेलेंसी, रूस और यूक्रेन के बीच चल रहे संघर्ष के विषय पर हम लगातार संपर्क में रहे हैं। जैसा मैंने पहले भी कहा है, हमारा मानना है कि समस्याओं का समाधान शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से ही होना चाहिए। शांति और स्थिरता की जल्द से जल्द बहाली का हम पूरी तरह समर्थन करते हैं। हमारे सभी प्रयास मानवता को प्रमुखता देते हैं। आने वाले समय में भी भारत हर संभव सहयोग देने के लिए तैयार है। एक्सेलेंसी, आज इन सभी विषयों पर विचार साझा करने का एक और महत्वपूर्ण अवसर है।
Both the leaders met on the sidelines of the 16th BRICS Summit, which is being held in the Russian city of Kazan. Beginning the day, Prime Minister Modi received a warm welcome at the Hotel Korston, speaking about which Prime Minister Modi said that the Indian community has distinguished itself all over the world with their accomplishments. He added that equally gladdening is the popularity of Indian culture globally.
आकाश गूंजे गूंजे जहान सारा काज़ान में मोदी। भारत माता की
So the 16th BRICS Summit is themed on strengthening multilateralism for just global development and security. This is the first summit of the grouping after it was expanded in Johannesburg last year. The BRIC as a formal grouping started after the meeting of the leaders of Russia, India, China in St. Petersburg in 2006. It was agreed to expand the BRIC into BRICS with the inclusion of South Africa in the year 2010. Last year's expansion was the first such exercise since 2010. The new members included Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran and the United Arab Emirates. Now, DD India's Jessica Taneja joins us live from Kazan, Russia. Jessica, what do you make of the opening remarks made by both Prime Minister Modi and President Putin at the bilateral talks?
Just a short while ago, we heard both the leaders speak. In fact, that speech was also highlighted at the BRICS Expo Center. The focal point of the meeting was to take stock, as I pointed out earlier, but also, if you'd recall, in the last visit in July, both Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Russian President Vladimir Putin had also agreed, India had agreed to open a consulate in Kazan, and perhaps we could see that taking shape in the near future as well. More than 1,000 students, Indian students, are here in Kazan, both at the Kazan Federal University and the Kazan State Medical University. So, of course, the presence of the Indian diaspora is huge, given that the consulate should open soon. Apart from that, focus also on the Ukraine conflict, where India maintains its position, which is any conflict can only be resolved by dialogue and diplomacy. And the way India sees it is, perhaps in the recent past, you'd recall that Prime Minister Narendra Modi had categorically mentioned that this is not the era of war, and then earlier in July this year, he had again said that solutions can't be found on the battlefield, and that continues to be the stance even now. And India's position and India's view hasn't changed. And after that, the Prime Minister was also in Ukraine. He met with President Zelensky as well. But apart from the focus on the conflict in Ukraine, which India would want to be seeing as resolved soon, and perhaps also mediate in a sense for peaceful negotiations, could be something to look out for in the future. But the meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Russian President Vladimir Putin was also about various areas of cooperation, particularly in defense and energy and many other sectors beyond that. You could also expect in the coming days, we could see some momentum towards collaboration in the Arctic region, the resource-rich Arctic region, and also the Northern Sea route, something that the two countries and leaders would see cementing, and particularly in the near future. You could expect more pacts, but for the moment, the meeting was limited to these particular aspects, and not to mention the presence at BRICS. Remember, both India and Russia, along with Brazil and China, are the founding members of this grouping, a multilateral grouping back in the year 2006, and we saw South Africa join in later. So it does sort of, show how important a multilateral event like BRICS is. With Prime Minister's presence here, expect India's engagements far and beyond.
Yes. And with which other leaders is Prime Minister Narendra Modi likely to hold bilaterals in the day?
So far, the only bilateral meeting planned was with the Russian President Vladimir Putin, and tomorrow, of course, we will know what's on the agenda. No information is available on that front at this moment, because usually during such multilateral events, there are pull asides and bilateral meetings. So we would wait for tomorrow as the day progresses. But for today, Tanvi, it's only going to be the Russian president.
Okay, thank you, Jessica, for those updates. Jessica Taneja reporting from Kazan, Russia.